Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Max at WeVideo, and today I'm sitting down with Coach Al, who's going to share with us how he's using WeVideo, the results he's seen, and some of the cool projects he's been working on. Awesome. So Coach Al, I don't know what to call you. Can you give a brief kind of bio of what you do, where you're from, hobbies, and how you use video?
Listen, I'm originally from Connecticut. I live in Florida now. Moved here 4 years ago. Live a couple miles from the beach, which is very similar to the background you have right now, man. That looks like Siesta Key Beach right there.
Does it? Yeah.
I love being here. I've spent my life as a professional musician, but also as an endurance athlete and coach. Operated a gait analysis lab for about 10 years with a sports physician. My passion is helping athletes avoid injury and come back from injury. And that's something I've been thinking about for more than 40 years now, pretty much every day. So had a long journey as an athlete that's taken me, to more than a dozen Boston marathons and 9 Ironman triathlons, 3 times in Hawaii at the World Championships. I now coach a 5-time Ironman age group world champion, actually a woman I've worked with now for 13 years. So it's an incredible journey. Actually, the Ironman journey started when I decided as a 36-year-old to overcome a near drowning as a child and some PTSD and fear of the water. Decided as a 36-year-old to learn how to swim, to get over that fear. And 2 years after making that decision, I qualified for the Ironman World Championship. So I'm passionate about following, my destiny, which is to help others and share what I've learned.
Oh, I have so many questions. I'm trying to keep this with the video theme. So you told me about how you transitioned kind of to your website to more of a digital focus, have an online presence with a lot of videos, and looks like members can sign in and log in and see online training exercises and stuff. When did this all take place? Because obviously now with the pandemic, there's a huge focus on kind of going digital with a lot of fitness regimens and stuff. And it seems kind of like you were ahead of that time.
Well, when my partner and I decided to close our brick and mortar gait analysis lab, it took me a while to decide in what direction I wanted to go with that company. And all along, I've been doing one-on-one coaching with individual athletes. So I decided, I made that decision to see if I could take what I do as a one-on-one coach and all the things that we learned, the systems that we developed in our gait lab, and turn it into digital programs that people could purchase and take part of and do this work on their own in their own home studio or in their gym. So I hired a company to build a new website. And of course, at that time, I was thinking, man, what am I going to do in terms of producing video? Because we had shot hundreds of videos, in the old days, but they were produced on a Sony Platinum video that I software that I used to use a little bit. It had long since become archaic. I just didn't know what I was going to do. And, it's funny, one of the questions I think you're going to ask me is, how did I learn about WeVideo? I honestly don't remember, Max. But when I found it, I was blown away because the dashboard, if you will, was similar to that Sony software that I'd used before. So I already was familiar with the timeline and a few of those other elements. I was faced with this challenge, which is how do I get, video from the point of, conception and design in my mind's eye to making it a reality. And if I were to go out and hire somebody to do that work and try to create what I was seeing, it was going to be hugely expensive and probably not going to be something I was happy with. So in the end, WeVideo literally saved my life and my business, because without it, I don't think I'd have the site I have today, nor the opportunity to help people the way that I'm able to now.
That's amazing. So you've got, if you were to give an estimate, how many videos would you say you have available to different athletes who sign in.
Right. So right now on Vimeo, I have about 430 videos that are inside of the website or our social media videos, because you've seen a bunch of those Gary V style videos, which, by the way, you taught me.
I remember asking. It was funny. I actually put 2 and 2 together there. I was like, yeah.
But there's 400 more than 430 videos inside the site that are finished, exported in 4K videos that I've done on WeVideo.
And since kind of the start of the pandemic last year, have you seen a big influx in new signups and new members joining?
I have to say, honestly, no. But my business has remained very steady. The challenge you have, and I'm still at the cusp of the marketing end. The challenge is once you build it, it's not like people start knocking on the door and are ready to start, buying your programs and your products.
True.
I've hired since the basic structure of the site was built, and I'm now doing all my own web work, which I hardly believe, actually, because I don't think of myself that way. But WordPress is pretty easy.
Yep.
But I've hired some marketing companies. I continue to work in that way to building some sales pages and just finding the right mix. But as I said, my business has really remained pretty steady through the whole, this whole crazy pandemic. And while I'd like to think like, wow, everybody's training at home now, so man, I'm just gonna, start doing 50K a month in business. The reality is, I still have a ways to go to get to the point where I've got the right mix of messaging and ads and the platform for those ads. It's not a thing, and I'm sure where you snap your fingers and it just happens.
Yeah, it's not I guess I've heard the term. It's not a field of dreams.
It's a grind, man.
Yeah,
grind, big time.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on it, particularly with like the Gary V style, but you create multiple different types of videos, whether it's personal training. I had no idea prior to this call actually that you were a musician. I mean, I was watching those videos and I was like, oh wow. So it looks like you use videos kind of for hobby and to record the music you create. And then as you touched on the Gary V style video, which during our live episode, we'll kind of show everyone a quick refresher of what that means with the progress bar and the captions and everything. Is there a type of video that I'm missing amongst that?
No, I mean, there's. I knew that in order for me to successfully teach athletes what I wanted them to learn, because in my business, which is the movement business, helping people to change how they move to become healthier, more durable, details are everything, right? In terms of movement skills. So I knew I needed to create really detailed videos and try to convey all of those things that I would otherwise convey if I was working with somebody one-on-one. So it took a lot of time to create a lot of those instructional videos, but in essence, that's really it. It's funny, you mentioned the word hobbies a bunch of times. For years, music was my vocation and training was my hobby. Now, training is, unfortunately, in some respects, my vocation, because I wish it was my hobby sometimes. I'm sure like you think that way about working on a computer or doing video stuff. Like it used to be your hobby, now it's your work.
Right.
And music is more my, my outlet because I still play. But it's shifted around a lot. But I can't say I actually have any hobbies other than stand-up boarding or just hanging out at the beach. Anyway, I don't want to get us off track here. I don't even know what the question was now.
Oh, no, all good. This is great so far. So when you have when a client signs up, do you find that when you create a video, it's something that can then be used over and over again, or do you find doing a lot of one-off videos specific for each individual?
The website, my website and the programs, there are a number of videos that provide and present concepts, philosophy, right? Like there was one I was thinking about because I know at some point we may go and look at some videos, but I did this video what is, runners, what is core stability and why does it matter? And it's like a 7 or 8 minute video where I talk about what's actually going on in running. And that's a video I could use over and over again, both as a marketing tool and just as good teaching and information, because it's something that most runners are unaware of. But the overwhelming majority of the videos I've done are very specific, right? Taking an exercise, a movement, a skill, and going, okay, how can I, because I'm the model in all these videos along with right, which is a little tough when you're a 61-year-old runner that's got a lot of miles on the chassis. But yeah, so just taking conceptually an idea of how I want to present the skill, and then figuring out how to convey that in video has been the challenge. So most of them are pretty specific.
Okay, great. So yeah, you're right on the ball here. I'd love to get a glimpse at a couple different videos you're proud of and take a look at your editing process.
Proud of maybe could be a stretch, actually. I'm not sure how proud I am of them, but listen, man, I think I've said a bunch of times, and nothing could be more sincere. You guys you totally saved me. WeVideo, man, I tell everybody about it that asks me about it, because I am so psyched to have the ability to use this platform. I'm just clicking through and logging into my account. So this is that the video I was just mentioning, the what is core stability video that I'd mentioned as one example. So it's got a lot of layers of stuff. If I go into these projects, I mean, there are literally,
oh my gosh,
in my edits area, there's 1,198 videos. If you wondered what I've been doing with my time, Max. Oh my God. So this is a kind of a neat video. So this particular movement these are hip controlled articular rotations. So focusing specifically on articulating the hips. So what I did was I shot the video of me performing these articular rotations with two different iPhones simultaneously, and then I brought the different view into the right bottom corner.
Oh, that's very cool.
Just to help people be able to see what I was doing. And of course, I recorded the audio separately and brought that in.
Did you do that through like the voiceover function in WeVideo, or was that just?
I just used my iPhone.
Okay.
And whatever voice memos function on the phone.
Yep. I've used that.
Yeah, probably. Listen, man, I'm sure there are features in WeVideo that I'm not even aware of or using. For those vibraphone videos I sent you links to, I recorded the music right through my audio interface and the microphones. So I had a separate audio file, and then had a couple of different camera angles, and then of course the trick was blending the audio file with the video files, which is a little tricky because they're running at sometimes at a little bit different speeds.
Right, and then you just mute the video track once it's in WeVideo.
I had all the video tracks muted. That's correct. Yeah, exactly it. So you can see here, all these different little audio segments which I was recording separately, because of course the challenge in a video like this, where you're trying to teach a really challenging skill, is you don't want to take 25 minutes to do it. I mean, I don't know what this video ends up being in terms of length, but it's about 5 minutes, right? So trying to be really concise and getting a message across, but also including a lot of detail is important. So yeah.
And so when this gets shared with client, do they send videos back of them doing the exercise, or do you do like kind of FaceTime calls, or how does that work as far as feedback goes?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it depends on the individual person that I'm working with. So, but I use Dropbox a lot, and
Okay.
athletes will shoot video of themselves performing these movements. They'll send them to me. Dropbox happens to work as a platform because I can leave comments, which they get notifications about. So it depends on the level of athlete that I'm working with, but the exchange of that video information is really important because it confirms for me that they're learning the skill. It gives me an opportunity to coach and give them tips on how to improve those things that they're working on naturally, and that's progression, man. That's learning in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, that's very cool. So yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of been all over the place, but are there any specific features in WeVideo that stand out to you the most or favorites?
Oh my God. Well, interestingly, I love the ability now to record the screen and the webcam. I've never used Loom, but all of a sudden I realized when that feature became available that I didn't need to worry about it because now I have this as as a way for me to share information with individual people. So I love that feature. The new cropping feature is really cool. I haven't used it a whole lot, but I could see where I really would use it a lot. I personally love and use the animation, aspect a lot. And it was kind of funny because it took me a while to figure it out, man. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer sometimes. Between where to start and where to stop and but once I figured it out, it's now automatic for me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that I think WeVideo has simplified compared to some of the other options out there.
Right.
Which was, yeah.
For sure. And I think, so I stopped sharing there. I don't know if that's cool, but there we go. So I love that a lot. Obviously, I love the ability to produce the videos in different, up to 4K, because there are times when I don't need that level of quality. But I also love the ability to produce it at that level of quality when I need it. I mean, there are so many features, man. It's easy to use, yet at the same time does just about everything that I need. And for someone like me who's not a graphics person in any way, shape, or form, having so many of the canned intros that I can just plug and play and modify and edit as I like, just makes it super easy. So it isn't like these videos, take just a few minutes. They still take time to produce. But you've saved me so much in terms of the initial design with a lot of these elements in putting these things together. Like you'll see, we go into my folder here, my media I created. I'm not actually sharing anymore, am I?
No, you'll just have to hit that button again at the bottom.
Let's do this. If it's worth it. So over here, I've got all of these folders that I've created for the different programs and different stuff I've worked on. But one of them is, intros and extros for a lot of the videos, right? And like this is a great example if you can see that. I mean, that's something. The amount of stock media that I have access to. Here's another one that I really like, that I end a lot of my videos with.
And is this is stock media right here, or is this?
This is all stock media.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I mean, here's another one. So I've created these little templates that I can plug in at the end of videos and before videos. And here's one that I've typically used for a lot of the videos, as like a really quick 5-second intro, and I'll put some kind of a background into it.
Oh, wow.
But the stock videos, man, are incredible, and the cost, I think, is so fair when I have access to all of those stock videos. And so many, I'll just think of something I want to create, the image I'm looking for, and then I'll plug into that, into that search function. And just like that, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I can look at. I favorited a whole bunch of stuff that I go back to. And it's all there. I can't, I don't have to go to another resource,
Right.
grab video or audio or images. I haven't had to. And, and that's now, as you see, more than 1,100 edited, edits of, videos.
That's astounding. Yeah. So this might be tough to answer, but in terms of editing time, is there kind of like an average or a range of how long a video takes you at this point?
Well, now I'm able to use a lot of the templates that I've already created.
Right.
And so I can usually open up that video and I'm just editing relatively quickly. But, on average, it really depends. It really depends on what it is, whether I'm using, my Rode wireless mic and the audio is already there, or whether I'm, adding audio from a different resource. But, I usually have, I have an hour into almost any video, I would say.
Okay.
Minimum from start to finish. And there are some videos, certainly like that prone cars video that you saw. I would spend, I'd start shooting the video itself here in my home studio of me performing the movements, setting on my iPhone, whatever. Then I'm bringing all that video, onto my desktop, and then I'll start that editing process. And that's a 3 or 4 hour video to create. That takes a while. So most of the afternoon I'm working on, producing that video, trying to get it just right.
So you've mentioned kind of different, the Rode mic and the multiple iPhones, the wireless mic stuff. Can you kind of, obviously you've been creating videos for quite some time. Can you kind of do like a before and after in terms of like what kind of equipment you had when you first started versus what you use now, and whether every video you make requires like all your equipment, or if there's stuff kind of from what it sounds like that you just shoot on your phone and that's it?
Yep. Well, I've used the iPhone for all of the video that I've shot. And I know when I first decided to do this, I did as much, reasonable amount of research as I could to try to learn what tools I really needed. And it seemed like the camera was going to be just, the camera in the iPhone was going to work for what it was that I needed. Because I think that the phone does a good job of of capturing video. The audio is a little tougher, and obviously
right.
You need good quality audio within instructional videos, or nobody's going to listen to it, right? So the Rode wireless mics, that's a $250 or so purchase that has paid for itself many times over because they're really durable, and the battery is really solid. I got myself, a bunch of different setups for, here's one you can kind of see. This is a little contraption I use to hold the iPhone, right, on a tripod. You can kind of see it here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I can, really manipulate this tripod in a lot of different ways. It can get really small. So getting the right tripods and that kind of setup, that's important.
And are you
and lighting,
Oh, and lighting. So in terms of iPhones, what generation iPhone have you been using?
Just an 8.
Just an 8.
It's an 8. That's it.
Oh wow, I'm sure that's amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
And then you have multiple, or you've
my girlfriend's
different angles.
My girlfriend's got I think an 8S or
okay.
Yes, I think. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. Nothing.
Gotcha. And then I kind of cut you off. You're about to talk about lighting briefly.
Well, I think, the lighting is always a little tricky. And what's really fascinating, you're going to get a kick out of this. The first 20 or 30 videos I shot, I went to all this trouble to get as much light into my studio here, which is up in a loft. I don't know if you can tell, but I tried to get as much light in here as I could. And I didn't even know that within WeVideo, I could adjust and bring in more lighting. It's one of the features that's, that I learned about by accident as I was playing around. So that has helped me a lot once I learned that. But, getting the lighting right is tricky. I always feel like at the end of the day, this is not really, it's not professional studio quality video, but there's an organic element to it, and it's still easy and clear to see. So trying to strike that balance, man, and just try to make it work.
Very cool. Very cool. So kind of hitting our time limit here. To wrap things up, what's some advice that you have to coaches, trainers, anyone starting off using WeVideo for the first time?
Don't become disappointed, dismayed, discouraged, or impatient. Practice, practice, practice. I mean, it's funny. I just happened to have this shirt on, and it kind of, it really, it embodies the attitude that you have to be a small business owner. Coaching is a tough business if you give a part of yourself to every person you work with. You have to be relentless in your pursuit and not let perfection get in the way of very good, and just keep working at it. Just keep working. I mean, this has been thousands of hours of work for me to get to the point where I've now got these 6 programs and all of these videos and all this content and information, and it reflects my 40 plus years as an endurance athlete and coach. So it's going to be there. And, for that, I'm happy. And as I said before, Max, I'm grateful to you and your team at WeVideo. Everybody there, you have made a real difference in my life and made this possible. And I really mean that. I mean it in as sincere a way as I could possibly say it.